We're going to give everybody about 2 minutes to get in here, and then we'll get started. So we'll start at 11:02. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. It's so exciting to have 174 school administrators, folks that focus on high schools with us today to look at the revised school accountability system. For many years, the Department of Education has engaged in a conversation about the need to reform school accountability in Louisiana to optimize it to meet the needs of Louisiana students and highlight areas where Louisiana is improving and areas where it still needs to improve for the benefit of our students. I'm Thomas Lambert, and I have the honor of serving as the Assistant Superintendent for Assessment, Accountability, and Analytics here at the department, working closely with Dr. Brumley and many colleagues who will be on the call today. On today's call, we really want to talk about the Grow, Achieve, Thrive parts of the revised accountability formula and really focus in on the places where high school principals are going to be mostly interested and spend some time on the resources that are available to support you. 3 fundamental drivers emerged as we were going through the 3 years of conversation. One was rigorous and high expectations of what our students can achieve. 2 was simplicity and transparency and what the accountability system measures. And 3 was signaling the importance of college and career readiness and aligning that with high expectations, which really meant that we needed to raise the bar around college and career readiness. Implications for high school interests and opportunities. So career and technical education will undergo a transformation in our revised accountability system. Rather than being dismantled, it will experience a revitalization. The shift will move us away from prioritizing the easiest to earn credentials or IBCs and toward fostering programs that add meaningful value to students beyond graduation. CTE leaders have long advocated for school systems to prioritize their programs and align with the economic demand that they have in their areas. This is sometimes met with resistance. This is the time for CTE to move forward with the intention and focus of developing talent that drives economic prosperity for our parishes. So now we're going to do a quick overview of the revised accountability system. As I shared a little while ago, the proposal's fundamental drivers are high expectations, simple and transparent, and career and college readiness. And to do that, we really wanted to set clear, high expectations. Our goals are clear. All of our students must grow. We need to be transparent about what % of our students are mastering grade level content. And lastly, we want students to thrive when they get to and out of high school by identifying the right pathway for them. The revised accountability system recognizes schools when they help students reach college, workplace, or military service readiness. So in terms of simple and transparent, each measure is going to ask a pretty straightforward question. What % of students met the expectation? And the question becomes, what is the expectation? So in the assessment index, for example, we used to give 150 points for advanced, 100 points for mastery, 80 points for basic, and then no points for anything below that. And what the new system essentially does is it says what % of students have reached proficiency. It doesn't provide points for lesser outcomes that are not the outcome that we want for all of our students. And instead, we recognize when students get to proficiency, and then we're going to double down on what percent of students are growing. So we're excited to walk you through the details of that now. College and career readiness, Bessie and Board of Regents met and developed a shared definition. A graduate from high school will be prepared for university, community college, or technical college without the need for remediation or co-requisite support. They are really ready for college when they're able to go there and not need a lot of support in order to succeed in college math, college English. Career readiness, the graduate is prepared for employment with foundational skills required to enter into career pathways. So the next big piece of this that we want to talk through is grow. So the current growth model is complex. We've long been challenged with educational outcomes that fall far below those of the nation. And our current accountability system, the growth model compares students' prior performance to their current year level, looks at a whole bunch of factors about the student, and then compares them to other students in the state to decide how you get points according to a table that has all the percentiles. It has a step 1 and a step 2. We're not going to go into a lot of detail about the old formula, but the new one, the new formula essentially says we want all students to reach proficiency over time. We are going to divide all achievement levels below proficiency in half, and then students have to grow 1/2 of an achievement level every year in order to reach proficiency and to earn the points in the growth model. So you see this young lady, this follows her from 3rd grade all the way through high school. And she took her LEAP test at the end of 3rd grade in ELA, and she scored the lowest possible score, a 650. In order for the school to earn credit for growing her, she needs to get to at least 675, which is halfway up the unsatisfactory category. So if she does that from 3rd to 4th, 5th to 6th, 6th to 7th, 7th to 8th, when she gets to 9th grade, if she also grows a half an achievement level, she will be proficient. She'll be at mastery on her English 1 exam, or she'll be at mastery on her Algebra 1 exam. So the expectation is that all students are growing a half an achievement level, and she's really going to be choice ready, no matter where she started when she got to school, when she took her first LEAP test. If she grows according to this formula every year, she will be able to make a choice about whether she wants to go to college, wants to go to career, wants to do both. Next slide. Because we're aware that our students who are farthest behind are the farthest behind, they're going to need a lot more support. And we know that it's important to grow them. We know that you're going to earn no points for them in the assessment indicators, but we do want to say it is extra important to grow those students. So you're going to see a second set of indicators. We're going to double the growth indicators. And that second set is going to be solely focused on your lowest achieving students. And we'll show how that works in just a second. So the accountability scorecard is pretty straightforward. By the time we're done with this, there will be 12 boxes, 12 indicators filled in. So you see math, English, math for the lowest 25% of students, English for the lowest 25% of students, and then English language learner growth. So the first 5 indicators for an elementary school are what percent of students grew in math according to the system that I showed you. There's some nuances that are in the policy around students who've already reached mastery or are already advanced, but we're not going to focus there at this exact moment. But it's the percent of students who were below proficiency and made progress toward proficiency or maintained their proficiency and move forward. So you see here 41.5% of students are growing in math in Louisiana, 46.5% are growing in English in Louisiana. And then when we look at our lowest performing 25% of students in math, 50% of them grew, and then 49.9% grew in English. The last category is percent of students meeting their growth trajectory on the ELPT. And this forms the first 5 out of 9 indicators for an elementary school. A high school is going to have 12, but we're going to go on to the next slide now and talk a little bit about achieve. Proficiency matters, just like making real progress every year, and the growth measure matters. Mastery is our minimum goal for where we want every student to get to. So our achievement indicators are going to answer the question, what percent of students are proficient and above? And we're going to continue to recognize and incentivize growing students toward advanced by saying once a student reaches proficiency in our growth measures, we want them to continue making 1 point of progress every single year. If they're at 750, they need to get to 751. So we're not going to incentivize advanced in the achievement category. We're going to incentivize advanced in the growth category. Next slide. So now, if you were in elementary school, this would be your scorecard. 5 out of your 9 indicators would be growth related, whether that's English, math, your progress with your lowest 25% of students, English learner acquisition for the first 5. And then 4 out of the 9 would be percent of students proficient in math, English, science, and social studies. So you see the formula starting to shift toward more growth than the current formula, where growth is weighted at 25% for an elementary school or 12.5% for a high school. So with that, I'm really excited to pass this off to my good friend, colleague, and a relentless hard worker for moving student outcomes in our state, Dr. Jenna Chasson.
Thanks, Thomas. Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining us. I'm happy to share with you all just some information about what we're doing as an agency and the supports and resources provided around how to really move students in both the achieve and the growth categories of our new accountability system. So as an agency, the concept of achievement we know must be embodied by the support provided to school leaders, teachers, and students. Today, during this next portion of our presentation, I'll discuss strengthening instructional coherence through teacher and leader growth and development, as well as expanded academic support for students. Schools and systems promote coherence and strengthen learning through high-quality professional learning structures of instructional leadership teams and teacher collaboration. These structures leverage information and resources to build the professional capacity of educators, so they are prepared to meet the needs of all students. Therefore, we know that these elements must be intentionally integrated into our learning throughout the year. This is how our adults learn and grow and collaborate. HQIM, our instructional materials, are one of the most important tools educators use in the classroom to enhance student learning. It is critical that materials fully align to state standards, what students are expected to learn and be able to do at the end of each grade level or course, and are high quality if they are to provide meaningful instructional support. The Louisiana Leader Rubric and Louisiana Educator Rubric are new rubrics for this year. These rubrics clearly define excellence in school leadership and classroom instruction. These tools help educators build essential mindsets and skills that elevate their practice, advance instruction, and improve outcomes for all students. Current classroom observation and student work and assessment data is critical for high-quality professional learning decision-making, goal setting, and progress monitoring. So these are just ways that we as a department are trying to connect the dots and make a more coherent state. Over the past decade, we have implemented initiatives designed to support continuous improvement of teaching and learning across our state. We have prioritized the adoption and implementation of high-quality instructional materials. We've also supported our school systems and schools with implementing 3 proven strategies that enable sustained high-quality teaching and learning. These include instructional leadership teams, teacher collaborations, and building career pipelines. Our improved new educator evaluation system, LEAVES, will build upon and support education initiatives. The process and instructional practices evaluation supports will be implemented through the structures of ILT and teacher collaboration. And it also supports the implementation of high-quality instructional materials. The Louisiana Educator Advancement and Development System, or LEADS, will provide teachers and leaders with a research-based vision for instructional excellence, promote student outcomes-focused assessment of instruction, and provide a structure of professional learning opportunities that connect to evaluation. The essence of the new Louisiana Educator Rubric is highly effective instruction that results in deep student learning. And highly effective instruction moves beyond foundational student engagement. This new rubric was developed to support a shift from student engagement to student ownership of learning. The progression of student learning from engagement to ownership is described across the performance levels of the rubric. While student engagement is often cited as a goal of instruction, it's just one step on the way towards student learning and ownership. We want to strive for student engagement that goes beyond, my teacher said I had to do this. And ultimately, we want students to truly take ownership of their learning, where they have an intrinsic motivation to learn and make their own real life and real world connections and can articulate what they're learning, why they're learning it, and how they will know when they are successful. This next slide shows a model of the learning progression. When students are engaged in work and doing learning, the instruction is at the proficient level. The educator is directing the learning for the majority of the lesson. This would be considered rock solid and effective in the rubric. Then you'll notice as we move forward in this progression, students move to the next level of understanding, where the educator shifts to a more facilitation approach, and the students begin to shift from just procedurally engaging in the learning to a level of ownership. Then at level 5 on the new LER rubric, the teacher and students co-facilitate their learning and are truly owning their learning. They're able to share what they have learned, apply and extend their learning, and take responsibility for their. This next cycle is so important. The follow-up coaching and support cycle is a component of LEADS, and it is a coaching model. It's considered a cycle of learning and growth. The PGP coaching plan within LEADS is revisited after each observation and helps to grow the teacher so that it's not just about evaluation and not just about a one-time classroom visit. Important to note here that the coaching cycle begins by identifying a student need. The student need should connect to the teacher's refinement goal. There's always a relationship between teacher actions and student learning. For this process, we have to think about how improvement in that refinement area will positively impact student learning. What could have been done in the lesson to improve student learning? LEADS resources are available now in our LEADS library landing page on our website. And we do have what I think is a super useful tool. It's called the Guide for School Leaders that you all may want to check out. And it's to help you with your planning for implementation of LEADS this upcoming school year. Now, LEADS focuses on the support around instruction that teachers and leaders will receive via our new advancement system, but we also have to be very intentional about the materials delivered during all learning time as well. LEADS is all about growing educators to in turn grow students. We know that students learn best when offered instruction that is coherent, from core grade level instruction to extra time to learn. We also know that access of all students to core grade level instruction, including our students with disabilities, is of the utmost importance. High quality core instruction is so important, and we should never waver from keeping the time, space, and quality of core instruction sacred. So I also want to talk a little bit today about a focus on targeted students being provided with extra time to learn and additional support. We know that not all students are able to access core grade level work without extra time to learn. And we want to set up all of our students to be successful with grade level work. No matter what you refer to that extra time as, intervention, when or what I need time, tutoring, it's essential that students are provided with impactful instruction that aligns to the learning currently taking place during core, or it could be previewing core grade level work. We know that many students enter high school with missing knowledge and skills to be successful with grade level work, so extra time to learn is essential and can have a huge impact if it delivers what students need and helps to prepare them for core grade level work. Linked on this next slide is some tutoring guidance that we've released for high school, and this pertains to math specifically. So I hope you all check this out and find it a helpful resource about how to implement tutoring in mathematics. The next slide offers guidance for high school pertaining to ELA. So there's a few things to note here. We do have an ACT series that is live and available to use now, and a content literacy series that will soon follow. We also know that sometimes our secondary students still have issues with reading, and extra time to learn could and should be used to support our struggling readers at the high school level. Our middle school, high school PD series on decoding multisyllabic words could be a useful resource for you all to share with your teachers for students who are struggling with reading. The skills regarding morphology specifically may be helpful for students when trying to determine vocabulary and context on the reading portion of the LEAP assessment. These resources are currently available in PDF form, but later will be a course. Also remember that our literacy library does not just contain resources for early literacy. There are many other resources in our literacy library for use in high schools if you all haven't checked it out yet. We know that focusing on growing our educators to grow students will increase achievement in our state. Our new Louisiana Educator Rubric and LEAD system gives us a common language to enhance instructional practices during both core and extra time to learn.
Thanks so much, Dr.
And with
Chasson.
that, I will pass it back to Mr. Lambert.
Thanks, Dr. Chasson. All that information is really helpful because no matter where students start, growth is critical. And those tools that Dr. Chasson was sharing, we know are going to really help drive student achievement so that they're prepared to thrive. So no matter where they start, growth is critical. Having a strong focus on student proficiency and student growth, we know will help more students reach 10th grade ready to have choices and make choices about their post-secondary careers. So the first one is a very simple indicator. It is the percent of students who are earning a diploma on time. The graduation rate will continue to be an important indicator. The indicator is simplified. The old system used to multiply by 0.9 when your grad rate was 75 or below, or multiply by 1.111112 if it was between 76 and 90, or any time that you were above 90, for every point above 90, you got 5 points added. The new formula is much more simple. It is what percent of students in your cohort earned a diploma on time. The nationally recognized assessment index shows the percentage of students reaching the equivalent of a 20 on the ACT or on other nationally recognized tests, such as gold on the work keys, 59% on the ASVAB, similar scores on the SAT or the CLT. University diploma students must still take one of these nationally recognized college readiness exams in order to substitute the higher score. But they can substitute an ACT score for work keys so long as they took ACT, SAT, or CLT. Louisiana's current accountability system formula has an indicator that was supposed to recognize credential attainment. In reality, a school would earn 100 points for graduating all of its students on time in that indicator, and low-level and high-quality credentials represented bonus points for that indicator. So while it looked like credentials were valued at 20% in the previous formula, really 100 out of the 150 points in that 20% was just graduation rate, not credential attainment. In this new index, we ask the question, what percent of students are ready for life after high school? College ready grads who earn a 20 on the ACT or other nationally recognized assessments of college readiness can demonstrate that through a variety of ways of demonstrating readiness, such as earning a TOPS aligned 3 or better on the AP or IB of 4, 6 dual enrollment credits with a C or better, a variety of ACT subscores in math or English, as well as SAT, or 3 CLEP passing exams with course enrollment. Additionally, graduates can demonstrate readiness through high quality credentials that are valued by business and industry. And you see that in that middle column, the career accelerator. And a university-bound university diploma student can earn points in the career accelerator, or a career accelerator student who happens to be interested in an academic pursuit, who has an ACT score of 20 or better, and chooses to take a TOPS aligned AP exam and score a 3, that career student can accelerate on the university accelerator and vice versa. So the career accelerator is percent of students who earn one of these bundles of basic credentials or earn an advanced credential, which you're familiar with as a high school principal already, complete 2 years of a fast forward aligned registered apprenticeship, or a certificate of technical studies in a high wage, high demand industry. Lastly, the service accelerator gives you credit for students who sign military acceptance, join the military, or are accepted to a service academy. And you notice the internships in the middle. That is a phase in that we will describe on the next slide. So we know that it's going to take time to build up these work-based learning experiences. We want to make sure that it's done in a responsible manner, where folks have time to build good relationships and build high quality programs. So we're going to phase it in over a period of several years. The first year, a school will earn 5% bonus in that category for reaching 25% of their career accelerating students completing a work-based learning experience. So if 50 of your students earn the acceleration credit in career acceleration, then you need to get 25% of those students, 25% of that 50. And if you do that, you will get 5 bonus points added on top. So for example, if 50 of my students are accelerating on career acceleration and 13 of those complete a work-based learning experience, that's 13 out of 50. That's greater than 25%. So I'm going to get an acceleration index bonus of 5 points. That expectation of the 25% is going to go up 5 points per year until it reaches 65, and then it will become an expectation. So here you see a complete scorecard. Calculating your school and district performance score is straightforward. You put all of the numbers in these boxes, and then it's a straight average, not a weighted average. It is just a straight average. What percent of my students are growing in math, English, lowest 25% in math, English learner growth, percent proficient in math, English, science, social studies, and the graduation rate, percent ready on a nationally recognized exam, and percent accelerating into college, career, service readiness. So the next portion of our presentation is going to focus on how you all, as building administrators, will prepare your students for success on this Thrive indicator.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ernie Singleton, and I am the Assistant Superintendent for Career and College Readiness. And my office stands ready to assist you this academic year as you prepare for the launch of Grow, Achieve, and Thrive. At this time, I want to delve further into the Thrive portion of the system and how it impacts you as building principals. So on this slide, I really want you and everyone listening over the course of this week to hear, understand, and become ingrained with this particular statement. The revised accountability system is a fundamental shift in our way of thinking. As you listen to how to implement the Thrive portion of the revised accountability system, don't think of graduation requirements. Think of providing opportunities for your students to accelerate or increase their learning. We're decoupling graduation requirements from the accountability system. So this is the University Accelerator, which Mr. Lambert already presented. So I'm not going to go over the components of each one. But what I want to talk to you all about is what does this look like at my school? So at your school, you should be providing coursework focused on test prep on the high school campus or coursework through the course choice program. You should be providing academic dual enrollment opportunities at your 2- and 4-year post-secondary institutions. As building principals, you should be working with your supervisors at your central office on providing opportunities to expand dual enrollment opportunities, ensuring that your teachers are credentialed to provide dual enrollment, or opportunities for instructors at the university campus to provide coursework remotely, and also opportunities for students to travel to and from the university campus if they are taking the course at the post-secondary institution. Additionally, you want to increase advanced placement opportunities by having educators participate in training from the College Board to become certified to teach advanced placement coursework. If you're an international baccalaureate school, you want to ensure that educators participate in needed professional development related to the IB. Finally, provide opportunities for students to engage with the CLEP exam. Understand the CLEP requirements that's recognized by the Board of Regents flagship university, and allow teachers to participate in training to prepare students for the CLEP exam. Now I want to spend a few moments talking about the Career Accelerator. So one question that we are constantly getting is about the basic bundle. When released, it will be released this fall. We are working with the Louisiana Workforce Commission to make sure that we have a variety of basic bundles so that you all will know what they are prior to next school year. And so what is the practical impact of the Career Accelerator for my students at my school? So how is it that you all can ensure that students are participating? Working with your community partners in making sure that industry-based credentials are available, ensuring that your counselors have time to offer scheduling of students in these various industry-based credentials, ensuring that they understand the IGP process and the opportunities that are available with career and technical education programs. Also making sure that your parents and your students understand the opportunities that are available with career and technical education program and any prerequisites that are needed to participate in those industry-based credentials. You should also be reviewing the programs that are at your campus to make sure that your students are interested in those particular programs and the eligibility that's needed for those career and technical education programs. Also, opportunities for teachers to maintain their technical skills that are needed to teach those CTE programming and identify any core academic educators who are aligned with CTE content. You should also be looking at your in-demand jobs in your area so that you are increasing the CTE opportunities at your campuses and connect with local registered apprenticeship providers to provide access to early enrollment in those registered apprenticeship programs. You should be working with your school system central office employees who have developed those MOUs with your post-secondary partners to make sure that technical dual enrollment is also available to your students so that those who want to earn the Certificate of Technical Studies in a high wage or high demand industry have those opportunities as well. And just like on the University Accelerator, you want to make sure that educators have credentials to teach dual enrollment courses on the high school campus. You're providing opportunities for students to take dual enrollment, technical dual enrollment at the university campus remotely if needed, as well as transportation. And finally, principals should also be looking at their master calendar to determine which academic and technical pairings will benefit students the most, because sometimes there may be some cross coursework that can work for all students. So for example, geometry and carpentry, trigonometry and electrical, algebra and algebra 2, and intro to computer programming. How can the master's schedule be redesigned to support student acceleration? Of course, the final accelerator, as Mr. Lambert talked about, is the service accelerator. So students who are choosing to go into the military should be provided that opportunity, so that one thing that you all should be doing is providing opportunities for military recruiters to come onto the campus so that they can inform students of the opportunities that are there. And they should have exposures to ASVAB and testing that is available. As you move into this academic year, we are here to support you, and we have developed guidance related to work-based learning. And we are currently working on additional guidance so that you all, as building principals, have the supports that are needed to inform your students, your educators, and your parents about the additional opportunities that will be available with the new revised accountability system. So as building principals, one thing that you also want to do is ensure your counselors have access to professional development opportunities focused on grow, achieve, and thrive. They should also understand which CTE programs, all of the CTE programs that are available, and the progression along with multiple entry and exit points built into the programs through academic course preparation, dual enrollment, and registered apprenticeships. This includes understanding the course projections and progressions and flexibilities to move across the course progressions. Counselors should also be provided the opportunity to engage with business and industry to understand the opportunities and demand for occupations in your local area. This understanding goes beyond what is offered at the school and enters into the space of what is taught and how it aligns to in-demand occupations. We also need to be concerned about our English language learners. These programs must understand the general language proficiency and the industry-specific language proficiency required in each CTE program. Support should be provided to students enrolled in CTE that targets the specific language acquisition needs of that program. We should also inform parents of these specific language acquisition needs associated with their post-secondary plan. And staff should assess the CTE programs to determine the minimum level of language proficiency required for success. This includes differentiating conversational, academic, and technical language proficiency. Our special education staff must also understand the opportunities that are available with career and technical education in the school. Since many certifying agencies and dual enrollment programs require additional applications to receive accommodations, our counselors should be working with those particular programs and making sure that students and parents understand that. Instruction should be provided to support schools in completing timely accommodations through certifying agencies and post-secondary institutions. Make sure that your teachers are supporting our special education students as they are trained to provide high quality support for these particular programs and students in those programs. So at this time, I'm going to pass it back over to Mr. Lambert to close out.
Thanks so much, Dr. Singleton. In the fall of 2024, the department will set cut scores on 3 scales, one for elementary and middle schools, one for high schools or combination schools, and one for districts. The simulated data will be used to set the minimum and maximum scores for A through F to be used in the first year when scores count in 2026. This fall, schools across the state will know their score under the simulation, and if they make no progress, what grade they can expect to get based off of the simulated results and the cut scores that we are going to set in the fall of 2024 for use in 2026. We hope schools will target trying to grow a letter grade or some reasonable number of points with that information. In any year after 2026, when over 50% of schools on a scale earn A or B, the scale will go up by 5 points until it reaches a standard 10-point scale. This will mean a clear goal annually and a gradual increase of expectations, while also being transparent about what % of students are meeting our expectations through transparent data. We've put together a chart of changes to SPS by year that we hope will help. This fall, no changes. SPS formula is unchanged from 2023. We will issue cut scores for the revised system using this year's data, and LDOE will issue simulated data to districts. Fall of 2025 will be the final year of the current system. Fall 2025 SPS is unchanged from 2023. LDOE issues simulated data assigning simulated grades based off the cut scores that we set in 2024. Fall of 2026 is year 1 of the revised system. The 2026 fall scores will be based off the revised formula. Cut scores will be the same from 2025 and the 2024 simulation, and LDOE will release simulated scores under the old formula for information purposes. Fall of 2027, we will be under the revised formula completely. Cut scores may have increased based off the results of fall of 2026, but only if 50% of schools earn an A or a B. Louisiana's revised accountability system, we hope you picked up some new information, and we hope that you know that we're here to support you. There's a QR code here. Visit our website for a preview video. Look to us for email updates, frequently asked questions, and always email assessment@la.gov if you have a question. We are here to help. We love answering emails, particularly from schools and school systems, school principals, all the way up to district test coordinators. So we are happy to help. Just send us a note, and we really appreciate you making the time to be with us today. If you put a question in the chat that wasn't answered, it'll be answered in a frequently asked questions document that we'll distribute. Thank you so much for being with us.